This is the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 56, Netflux Capacity.
Superman.
Hello and welcome to Cult Faction Podcast, episode 56, Netflux Capacity. I'll be your host this week, Brett Summers, and joining me will be
Paul Hawkins
and Damien Hicks.
And it's another week, another load of movies, another load of TV. So what's been happening, fellas? What's been going down in your hood this week?
I bought a new microphone.
Ooh,
It's red.
it's red and shiny.
I won't name it because we're not being sponsored or nothing. So
We could be.
we could be, but I'm not going to say it.
Name it, put in a hashtag.
Oh, I could do, couldn't I?
Yeah.
Let me get the box because I've forgotten what it's
Does
called.
it not say it on the microphone?
Fisher Price.
It's the Sontronics Podcast Pro.
Sontronics.
Oh, Podcast Pro.
Podcast Pro.
For
Yeah,
all
look
the
at that.
podcast professionals in
Comes
your
in a
life.
nice white box and
If
everything.
you like your Tronic sons, they're the place to go. So apart from that, anything else? What's been happening?
I've been editing last week's podcast. That was an arse ache.
Oh, you know.
Someone swore
Oh, my God.
copious amounts.
That was you.
It wasn't.
It was him. He was throwing his head off.
I haven't listened to it yet. I thought it was you. The
No,
way you said that,
it was me.
and I don't think it was me because I'm. Well, I spent the first 6 months not swearing because we said at the very get go we can't swear, otherwise no one will have us on on the podcast site. Turns out you lot were effing and jeffing from the get go, but in my head, in my little psyche, it was like, no, you're a school teacher.
I know,
again,
but that
Paul.
first time you swore was so much more impactful than any of the swears that we'd done before.
Now I can't stop. Beep.
Lickety purple. Count to 10. Yeah, so apart from going on a swear binge, what have you been up to, Paul?
So, Brett, mostly this week, other than working, we went away for the weekend to the lovely Somerset.
Somerset.
Yeah, and yes, some cider was drunk, but not actually from the local region. It was more Strongbow. Or was that from Somerset?
I have no idea. I
Is
doubt it
made
very
in
much.
Somerset?
I wouldn't have thought so.
They make
It's probably
lots of-
made at some industrial estate in Milton Keynes.
Probably.
You have probably just offended everyone that lives in Somerset now by saying that. You're probably barred from it by
No, I've
comparing
drunk-
Strongbow to Somerset
I
cider.
di- Hey, I didn't compare it. I just said they were ciders.
Yeah,
And
you
they
were-
both-
Yeah, but there's cider and then there's
All right, so
Cider.
last time we were
It's like-
there.
It's like saying Thunderbird's wine.
Right, last time we were there, we went to the local place and got a load of scrumpy. All right, and they filled up these jugs with them.
Nice recovery.
Yeah.
Supporting local business.
And I also brought some cider brandy from this same establishment, and some ice cider or something. So yeah, I supported the local community, and we had a barbecue with local meats. All right, I'm all about the Somerset. I love the Somerset and other other
Somerset.
counties.
I'm just saying that even in Somerset, they're still called women. You can't say that.
There's
They're not local meats. They're people, Paul. They're people.
It was good. It was a good bit of beef.
Did you
No.
ride a combine harvester?
There was some pork. There was some chicken. There was some beef, and lots of sausage.
What?
He started
Is
talking
it
about
like David
women.
Bellamy or something?
As I rummage around the undergrowth.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. It was more,
That's-
that's more Yorkshire, I thought.
Yeah.
That's for our younger listeners out there. Good old David Bellamy. Yeah, so we went away for the weekend and had a nice relaxing time. Not much watching of telly over the weekend, actually.
Ah, you're a letdown.
We were.
How dare you go outside and enjoy life?
I know. I made up for it before I went.
Oh, fair enough.
It was back to school for you, I guess.
Back to school, soul to soul, back to life, back to reality. Although, to be fair, the alarm clock on Monday morning wasn't as painful as I was expecting it to be.
Is that because you had a day off again? Was that an inset day or something?
No.
No. Not just having a day off because teachers get Mondays off now.
Let's not go through this again. I had this in the car on the way here. I can't be doing with it
Paul,
again.
you work from home. You have nothing to say. You have to get to your front room.
How many weeks holiday do you have to go to your chateau in the south of France or whatever teachers do in the summer holidays now they can get away from the country?
I'm not going to be going to France.
Not yet, but you will do when you're older.
I'm older.
Because we're all spring chickens right now.
When he grows up to be like a proper teacher with his little place in France, as all teachers do, and they clear off.
Have you got a jacket with
I knew that was coming next.
thingies
I
on
was
your
just
elbows?
thinking the same thing. Then you get them
patches?
you get those at 10 years. It's like a
You've
black
not been-
belt or
You've
something.
not been patched in yet.
Not been patched in. I'm a nomad.
Well, that's like the bit in
Prospect.
bit in the tripods where they get that little skull cap.
Beanstalk, was that his name?
Can't remember.
The tall, skinny one, yeah. Back in the days where you could just name a character based on what they look like Enid Blyton's classic little boy, Fatty Ginge.
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
Not like nowadays where we struggle to remember any actors or the characters they played or the films they turned up in
Yeah.
or the TV series they turned up in.
Yeah, when back in the days in the 80s where if you resembled anyone from a cartoon or a TV show, that would become the name for the rest of your life. Even if later on you weren't that way or you got skinny or whatever, you might have changed. You were still that name. If you look like Skeletor, you're still going to be called Skeletor when you're 40. Sorry, that was just the way it was. But yeah, it's been just back to work for me. Really, nothing too exciting this week. Yeah, really.
Fair enough. Well, that's good. We had about 7 minutes of meandering there. That was
Nice.
that's a record for us, I think.
Right, you say
nice
that, but
meander.
he's going to cut it all. So the news.
Just going to edit more
Shit, I've
bits.
not
of
got the
him
news
in.
jingle ready.
Uh-oh.
You carry on.
And so, has anyone been watching anything?
Right.
I'll say I was going to start off with you threw down the gauntlet, Paul, and I watched The Bubble.
Well, I'm not sure if I threw down the gauntlet. We were having a conversation, and I said how bad it was.
And we were saying that we thought it would be good.
Yeah, but I just think it's important to know for the new listeners, as our numbers keep increasing on a regular basis. So there may be some people listening to us for the first time. This wasn't me condoning this as like a brilliant new film on Netflix. I literally turned off after 40 minutes. I've watched a lot of crap in my time. For me to physically turn off a film took a lot of going. I'm not going to lie. So, last week we were saying, oh, it can't be that bad. Is it that bad? Can it be that bad? Is it just Hawkins off on one? So, the conversation was had, and I think you two did take up that challenge to watch The Bubble.
We did.
So just to recap, who is in The Bubble?
The whole world.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And his dog.
So David Duchovny's in it. Karen Gillan. The lovely Karen Gillan.
Yeah. Mando. The Mandalorian. I forgot his name. Pablo. Picasso.
Pedro.
Escobar.
Pascal.
Yeah, that dude. The Mandalorian. we're well on top of our
It's like
details.
your previous comment. You know, when you've done one role, that's all you're ever going to be remembered for.
Yeah, the Mandalorian's in it, or the guy from the Wonder Woman '84 movie. Yeah, exactly. The Mandalorian. What would you rather be remembered as?
And set the scene, because I did it last time. So what's the film about, Brett?
Basically, there was a bunch of like dinosaur movie kind of things that were pretty cult but low budget.
Cave monsters, I think it's
Cave
called.
monsters, or yeah,
something like that. And
Cliff beasts.
Cliff Beasts.
How could you forget Cliff beasts?
There's been 6 of the movies.
Those bits were really good. I like those bits. But yeah, so Cliff Beasts, which is like a series of films within a film, and then they got to make Cliff Beast 7, and basically
During quarantine.
it's during the quarantine. So we're at a hotel in England somewhere whilst filming it simultaneously, and
They've all got to be in a bubble.
Yeah, so we've got to be in a bubble. So they're in a bubble whilst being in the bubble. Oh, and there's a few twists and turns and cameos from everyone going, which I'm guessing is just this is what Hollywood did during lockdown.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, it's that we can't make any films, we can't earn any money. Oh, do this cameo, you say? Oh, okay, yeah, I'll do that.
And Judd Apatow directed it, and is a number of previous people that have been in his films as well,
including his wife and daughters.
Yeah, obviously, because he needed to be away.
But yeah,
so of course he's going to take him with.
It wasn't the horror fest that you made it out to be, though,
in
my opinion.
I no one point said this was a horror fest.
No, a horror fest, like it was a horrible film.
Really?
It was, the intention was there. I just think it got lost somewhere between. I think it wanted to be Tropic Thunder, but ended up being 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Because it just had so many, such an ensemble cast that it was just trying to get everyone in doing something, and it just sort of, those guys ad-libbing and having fun while they were filming it was probably great, but for the general public watching it, I think it needed to be edited down a bit more and a bit more streamlined. And I think there's a good film in there. I just think there was too much, all the different intertwining relationships, and it all got a bit 4 Weddings and a Funeral, when, like I say, people wanted like a Tropic Thunder. That's what the actors are like. Here's the horrible films they've made, here's the tongue-in-cheek bit. The green screen stuff when they're acting in that I thought was really good, but then you'd have like 20 minutes of them walking around a hotel. Have you got some drugs? No, I haven't. Oh, let's get drunk. No, you do that. Oh, you're a footballer. Oh, and it just, half of it was meaningless and didn't really have much to do, really. And I think that's what just dragged it down, because it just drolled on and on. Then you'd get a good bit again, and then it would droll on again for half an hour. Damien?
I thought it was way too long. It's the same joke over and over again. This whole thing of pampered celebrity cliche has been done over and over again. And it may well be true. I mean, we saw it with their ridiculous Skype call version of, was it Everlong? Back in Lockdown 1. I know it wasn't necessarily these actors, but it was Everlong, wasn't it? The Foo Fighters song.
No, they did that, and then they did blooming Imagine.
Oh no, but there was.
They did a Foo Fighters one as well.
Yeah. I thought you meant like the TV show where they're in lockdown, which was actually quite good with Michael Sheen.
No, I'm just talking about like in real life. But it's just, I thought it was overlong. It was nauseating. It was shite. And I guess there is a part that says those green screen bits were funny, but they were funny because of the guys that were hanging off the ropes.
And that was funny the first time.
Yeah.
And even that got a bit repetitive.
Yeah.
It feels. Yeah, you're right. There's an idea there. It's just poorly executed, very poorly.
I just think if someone went back and re-edited it and took about half an hour off.
Well, like the Zack Snyder cut.
Well, no, because it added about 5 hours on. We want to take about an hour off. If you get it to about 70 minutes, you could have something there. Following on from the bubble, we also had a challenge I threw down last week, and I believe, Paul, you didn't have the chance, but Damien, you took it up.
I did take up this challenge of, what was it called? The green
goblin,
greener grass, or
greener grass, something like
greener
grass. Yeah.
Well, I only managed about 20 minutes.
So you haven't gone back and watched it. That's just plain selfish. So I'm the only one in this room that's managed to sit through this shocking shite.
Well, I watched it to start with and said I only managed 20 minutes.
Yeah, but I thought you'd kind of go back and give it another try.
Well, I couldn't work out if it was me or if it was weird for being weird's sake or whatever. That's why I wanted a second opinion.
Yeah, but you could. I mean, I sat anyway. Yeah,
right,
I did. I watched the whole. I think it was an hour and a half, hour and 40-minute runtime. And I think there's actually a good idea in there somewhere.
So, recap on what this is about?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's part of the problem. So, I think the synopsis is something, I haven't got it in front of me, but it's something along the lines of this like hilarious comedy.
Ideal American family life.
But that's not what the
thing. Oh, yeah, sorry.
It's like, it starts off soccer mums watching their kids playing football. The kid is just sort of stood in the middle of the field, not really paying any attention. So he's obviously a bit of a disappointment to one of the mums and the dad. And then they're talking to each other. She basically gives her baby to the other mum because the other mum says something like, "Oh, I like the look of your baby. Oh, would you like her? You can have her. We've got one already." It's like, which I think on a sketch level, on something like Saturday Night Live, is funny, and if you were to split that film up into a series of little sketches on something like Saturday Night Live, or even a series of its own that kind of spreads the story out a little bit, but it's not supposed to be theatrical in the way it's presented, some of it would have been quite funny. But it just goes from pretty much sketch to sketch.
Oh, is it supposed to be funny? I thought this was on Shudder.
Yeah, but not all Shudder's horror.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like, it's supposed to be like surreal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a
That's what I mean.
surrealist kind of.
It
You're
reminded
right
me
about the
that-
Soundgarden thing, 100%.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, the colour palette is a little bit nauseating after about.
Yeah. It was
55
almost that sort
minutes.
of Blue Velvet kind of vibe as well, wasn't it? But
Yeah.
not that dark.
It's that all American dream thing, and what they're trying to do basically is poke fun at the suburban dream and parents being defined by their children's achievements, that kind of stuff. But you said last week it's just that they keep trying to put something in there
Just to be
to
weird.
be weird, and it just makes the whole thing disjointed. It's won awards. It won awards at different film festivals.
Oh, we've
I
all
haven't-
won
yeah,
awards.
But to be fair, I've not necessarily gone into. It might be an award for best colorist or something because stuff like that. But yeah, it's just too long. Would be better served as either a standalone series that just kind of gives it give it a bit more of a story. I kind of really properly lost interest when the boy turned into a dog. Wow. Yeah. So you've both seen
Digby.
no, forget dogs. You've both seen the best film best film of the 80s that was made in the 90s.
Gorman.
Psycho
Gorman.
Gorman.
So at the end when the little boy is still a blob thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they just take it and no one really bats an eyelid and they're sat down to dinner. They do exactly the same thing, but the boy's turned into a dog, but everything just carries on as normal. This is, I don't remember the kid's name now, but this is Tim now. He's a dog,
Right.
and he's sat at dinner having dinner at the table. He goes to school. He plays football he plays soccer with the rest of the soccer kids. Funny. 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Changing back to a kid, it doesn't work. So, you're right, Brett.
But at least you made
And
it
I'm
to the
thoroughly
end of the
disappointed
film.
that I was the only one that actually sat and watched it.
Well, that was my point. That's what I said. I got that far and I just couldn't. And I like things like that are weird, but it was like, to me, it needed to commit to its darker side or go for the surreal funny side, and it
Yeah.
didn't do anything.
It wasn't
just-
dark enough.
And
And
it was.
necessarily wasn't surreal. It was that bit in the middle that's just not funny.
You
Where,
just needed that one, like the mum that gives it away. Maybe she gives the girl away. Maybe she gets a bit vengeful or something and starts being a bit evil. Or the woman that's got it gets a bit obsessive. Just to follow that one person. But it was like, your turn to do something surreal. Oh, now it's your turn to do something surreal. And then it's like, what can we do here? I know, the boy's a dog. Paul, what have you been watching then?
Right, so I need to make a couple of worthy mentions. Not really
Paul's worthy mention.
not really for the cult faction type, genre. But we were talking the other week about laughing out loud and the fact that there's not much on telly that laugh out loud at anymore. And maybe you'll do the odd chuckle here and there, but most of it's game shows or the celebrity question type things. But I've got to say, not going out, I was doing a proper dad laugh on Friday night. Proper dad laugh.
I have chuckled at some of those.
Yeah,
That was one with Bobby Bowen, wasn't it?
it was. Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen some of them. But
yeah. But I haven't actually laughed out loud at something on telly or film for God knows how long. So needed to give that a shout out. And also,
but are they? I'm
Go on.
guessing. Obviously, it's a silly question, but it's still now back. It's in its kind of cozy sitcom setting rather than what it was before, isn't it? So they got kids. So
yeah,
they
well, the kids never turn up. I mean, they're always off doing something or in bed. So it's just Lee Mack, his wife, and normally the Outlaws. or some people in the neighbourhood that
So
make an
have they
appearance.
replaced?
They're just not around.
No, I mean, have they replaced? I was about to say the cannonball. Have they replaced Bobby Ball or?
No, he's died.
Oh, they've actually addressed that.
The first episode of the new series was actually, they did it in a really nice way to start with, and there was just like a moment of, you know, respect almost, and then there was a little joke about him, and then the mother-in-law brought round this portrait of him, and he looked like a little rat. so they obviously got permission to do this from his family and stuff, but that was quite a funny episode as well. But the one on Friday, it was generally, I was doing dad laugh as I mentioned, and I haven't done that in ages.
Can you demonstrate what is dad laugh?
Well, you know the bit where when you were a kid, and more than chances are you were either upstairs or would be watching Stir Crazy or something, and your dad's having that funny 5 minutes where he just can't stop laughing. You know, proper belly laughs, and it's like, is he actually going to take a breath, or is he going to pass out? I was surprised and I surprised myself. I couldn't stop laughing, and Shell was also watching it with me in fits of laughter. So to have that effect on two people with completely different views of telly and film, Lee Mack does some things right. So anyway, not really cult faction genre, but again, we were talking about things that make you laugh, things that make you go. So worthy shout out for that. As I said, we were away for the weekend and we got back Sunday. It was a bit of a quiet afternoon in the Hawkins household, and Shell had a nap. In the evening, we just put on a film. Couldn't be asked to look around. Literally, film came on. Oh, why don't we just watch this, babe? Coyote Ugly. Because why
You can't
not?
fight the moonlight.
Oh, you
can push pause on
Sorry.
it.
No, good one. And yeah, what a great bit of hangover TV that is.
Do you know, I don't think I've actually seen it. I think I've seen bits of it. Probably through the Leanne Rimes video. Is it Leanne Rimes?
Yeah. She makes an appearance at the end. So it's basically lots of attractive looking women dancing on the bar. And there's a few songs, but not brilliant
Happened a
film.
lot when we used to DJ. Didn't they?
Not a lot.
They made a film out of it.
It's not a brilliant film, but again, you know, when you're going through a bit of weekend recovery, it's a nice way to finish off a Sunday night. This is almost cathartic for me now, so I need to mention Elden Ring. Well, we spoke about I unleashed my issues with Elden Ring last week in regards to the fact that it's all about powering up. Yeah, you have to level up.
Is this the computer game thing
Yeah.
you're talking about? Oh.
And the only way you can level up is
I'm just going to go and check my mail or something.
by getting points. So I've been doing that by killing these 5 big giants on
Dead
and on and
pixels.
on. And then trying to then, you know, do the actual game. But every time I get to like the next little thing, I get instantly mowed down. So then I literally spent 4 or 5 hours.
What does it say? £400 or £500 on loot crates.
No, although I would be tempted if they were those. But I've literally spent 4 or 5 hours leveling up, or rather getting enough points, or whatever the term is. Because I thought what I'll do is I get to the level where I can use magic, even though my type isn't a magic person. I think I'm like a barbarian or warrior thing. Don't write in, people. But yeah, what I'll do is I'll get enough points so I can up my whatever it is intelligence, so I can start using my my magic wand type staff type thing. So I spent 4 or 5 hours doing that. Got my intelligence up. Thought, great, I'll test this out on some little troops nearby when I, you know, get out of the whatever it's called, the church where I, you know, level up, and all it does is it makes a little flashy thing. So obviously you need to increase your intelligence up to a certain point for it to do any bloody damage.
Obviously,
Yeah, but I didn't know that. 5 hours of my life, I'm never gonna get back killing big giants. So now I'm killing big giants to increase my health or vigor and my stuff, ability to carry stuff before I can go back and get slaughtered by the next thing that comes along that slaughters me.
I'm just picturing at your house with like your 3 children sitting next to you going, "Is it our turn yet, Daddy?" And you're like,
Well,
no.
I time it. So obviously, it's most of this.
I only get 10 hours a day.
Most of the killing of giants happens when the kids go to bed and Shell's working. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to get to a point quite quickly, and I say that, but there's a lot of bit of me that's determined now, where I'm going to get to get a bit fed up.
You're going to end up remortgaging your house for points.
I don't think you can buy points. If I could, I would genuinely contemplate doing it.
I feel like this is going to be an ongoing thing on the podcast. In about a year's time, we'll be having a whip round because Paul's now homeless because he spent all his money on weapons in the Elden Ring.
See,
so
last
he could kill a
night,
giant.
Last night, he was literally getting painful.
Are you chasing a dragon as well?
No, I've already killed a dragon. That was quite easy by some of the other bosses that I've completed, and I was getting a bit cocky as well. Because I managed to kill a few big bads and all this kind of good stuff.
But it is a good game though.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
still
it
enjoying
is
the
good.
game.
But then when you start free roaming or whatever it is, I was getting a bit cocky after killing a few big giants or whatever and some bosses, and then just some normal troops are walking around, but they're badass skeleton troop type things, and it just mowed me down. And that kept happening.
But you haven't got bored with it. You're still recommending this game.
Yeah, at the moment. But I don't want to carry on just going around in a loop killing giants because it literally got painful after 4 hours or 5 hours of doing it over the last couple of nights.
So you do take some rests in this game then. You're not just
when my vision stops. When my vision starts going blurry.
Sounds like your teenage years.
Yeah, but that's where I am in Elden Rings at the moment. I don't want to talk about that anymore.
Okay, fair enough. What about what have you been watching to relax?
So before we went away for the weekend, just available to rent by or whatever it was.
I know.
Don't you dare make the Batman noise when I want to talk about watching the Batman.
I thought it went together.
Why would you think that? Because I watched the Batman and not a Batman film.
Okay.
So yeah, I paid £14, £15 or whatever it was to rent the film, and yeah, spent 2 hours watching the film.
And
so first of all, let's start on some positives. I think Mr. Patterson, whatever his name is,
Thank you, Miss Batson.
Twilight dude, I think the kids call him.
I think he did an okay job of doing. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It was very, very confused. The whole film was confused. It's like, well, first of all, it's not a Batman film.
Why not?
Because there's nothing related to that compared to a Batman film.
I don't understand.
They should have called it...
And I'm not being facetious.
No. They should have called it The Masked Vigilante.
I thought you were going to say the masked vagina. I don't know where or why you would say that.
I don't know where that came from.
Did you not think it was good where we actually saw Batman be a detective for once rather than just swing around and, be moody?
If I wanted to watch a detective film... I mean, let's not forget I watched Hercule Poirot the week before, King of Detectives. Although he didn't really do that much of a great job in Death and Now, but that was a detective. I don't want to watch a Batman film to watch Quincy or
Don't you diss Quincy.
Everyone wants to watch Quincy.
But
I'd have loved to seen Jack Klugman, however you pronounce it, as Batman. That would have been awesome.
But I don't want to watch Batman where he's just a detective.
But he's called the world's greatest detective.
Not by me.
It's like Batman. He's the world's
That's
greatest
like one of
detective.
his
That's the whole.
It's, I'm Batman. I'm the world's greatest detective.
Even back in the Adam West stuff, okay, they made it all hokey where he'd have a machine for everything and like a giant magnifying glass.
See, there we have it. So define a Batman film. They should all have their characteristics, yeah? What do we know Batman for? Go, Brett. You are the king. And I will bow to your knowledge when it comes to comics. Tell me about
the
Batman.
world's greatest detective.
Carry on.
His gadgets, the Batcave, a wide array of villains.
Villains.
A small boy in shorts that hangs around with him. Robin.
So
it was always weird.
So let's talk about the gadgets to start with. Not many were there.
Well, you got to remember this is year 2.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Whatever. It's the adolescent.
No, but they made a big point of it. Like it's only his second year and all that. So
but again,
he hasn't become the full-on Dark Knight that we know.
All right, so let's face it, DC aren't doing particularly well compared to Marvel. We've spoken about this many times before. So you're trying to, if you were...
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
No,
I agree with some of you.
And you're trying, big old producers. Okay, I got a great idea. We could come back with like a great Batman action film, or we could pitch
these guys talking in the 1920s.
Yeah, you fucking
They got
right.
big cigar.
Yeah,
Panama
That's
hats.
how everyone talks in Gotham City.
Okay. So we're gonna go down a different angle, and we're gonna make him a detective. All right. Okay. Yeah. And we're gonna give him gadgets. No.
I keep thinking an anvil's going to fall from somewhere any minute now.
Yeah. So there weren't any real gadgets. And also being a kid, the Batmobile meant a lot. Okay, that was the thing people would get excited about.
He had a Batmobile.
The metal hair.
I haven't seen it, so it's no good asking me.
You're going to be the deciding vote.
So
I don't really want to watch it. I just watched Green Grass, whatever it's called. I don't want to watch Batman.
The Batmobile is a car. I will give him that, and it's a souped-up car, but that's about it.
Is it like a Kia or something?
No, it's a step above it. It's American, so it's got to be like a Ford something or other or whatever. And they've souped up, but it's not a great looking Batmobile. But that's a minor thing. I could potentially forgive them that, maybe. Although Batmobile, it's a big thing. Villains. Let's talk about the villains, Brett.
I like the villains.
Really?
Who were the villains?
The Penguin was really good. Colin Farrell as the Penguin was a good start. Obviously, as if it's going to be a trilogy, I imagine by the end of the third one, he'll be the Penguin who runs everything at that point. A bit like Gotham.
Didn't we do some news the other week that he's got his own show?
So I think you're going to see the rise of the Penguin, maybe. The Riddler was an interesting take. They went a bit more Seven on it, but or a bit Saw-like with his clues and the disasters, but.
But this is my point.
They tried to jazz it up a bit.
Penguin wasn't really the Penguin that we know.
Well, he wasn't yet. It's only year 2.
But they've done the big spin on that. But as opposed to the Batman, and I mean the plural from the films that we've seen before, not like a new Batmen film, because no doubt that will happen where Batmen...
Bette Midler's going to turn up.
from different timelines will all be together.
She's got wind beneath her wings, so she might well do.
But... none of the characters were properly formed.
Well, it's not. It's the first film.
I know, but Catwoman wasn't really Catwoman.
2 more,
How many times can you say it?
There's 2 more.
Yeah, I know, but they weren't Batman villains. They were more Kingpin type characters or
Penguin kind of ends up like that, though.
Yeah, I know, but do that for the first 5 minutes and then let something happen and then Danny DeVito take over. Something like that. Or,
well, he will, because now that
I know
with
you
Falcone,
say they will, but do it in the first 5 minutes of a film. You didn't really have that. You had a gangster boss, and that's my point. Batman could have been any action character or cop or detective. It's not a Batman film. Catwoman wasn't Catwoman. Let's face it.
Yeah, that was changed a lot, and the twist in it was a bit naff for me.
Yeah.
But Falcone is an ongoing character. I mean, if in Gotham they played him big time as well.
Yeah, no, and I get that. But again, if you're trying to re-kickstart a franchise, again, because that's all DC have nowadays, let's face it.
Well, it didn't help that as this film was coming out, they were discussing the chance of Keanu Reeves playing Batman in the film. So, it's like that showed what they thought of it until it made big bucks.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what they think of everything. You know what I mean? That's why hopefully they finally got their problem solved.
It's just, if you're trying to re-kickstart the franchise, this didn't feel like the film to do it. you start at, even with Batman Begins, they set up the whole journey.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
still the best Batman film.
That's been done to death.
Yeah,
we didn't need to see his parents get killed again,
exactly.
did we?
No.
So isn't that the point? That this is, as you say, do you say 2 years? It's 2 years on. So
But DC are failing.
you can't go 2 years on and have a fully fledged Penguin. You can't go 2 years on and have a fully fledged Riddler, because then all you're going to end up with is the George Clooney version, where you get a very short synopsis of how Enigma becomes.
My point is,
what's the Riddler, and
like a 10-minute origin story.
Yeah.
But my point is, in a series, that would be absolutely fine.
This is a series.
Yeah,
it's a
and he's getting his own series.
In a TV series, this would be fine.
They've done that in Gotham, so they can't do that again in the series.
But for a big, allegedly blockbuster film that's and I hate to say it again, trying to kickstart the franchise, this is not the film to do it. And DC are failing at the box office. For a Batman film, I'm sorry, you want Dark Knight, literally the Dark Knight. Yes, there needs to be progression, but they could have done that in an hour of showing him start and then time lapsing to a couple of years in the future, and they did that so well with Christopher Nolan's. But this was,
but they were diminishing returns. The first one was
but
really
even the
good.
first one, there was a time period that went on. It wasn't just set in like 1 month.
Oh yeah, no, it is, but this was almost like it was almost a bit 24 like, when it was kind of all almost not in real time, but you know what I mean. They tried to do it in that kind of
but with
detective
film
story
noir
way. Yeah, film noir.
But with the
detective
Batman,
noir.
you could have replaced the Batman character with any detective.
what's wrong with that?
'Cause
Take it
that's
a different angle.
because that's not a Batman film.
I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm defending a film I've not seen, and B,
Batman.
a spandex film, but I'm defending it because what you're telling me actually makes it
You would probably
almost
really
close.
like
yeah,
it.
this is where I'm going.
No,
Maybe I should watch
But
this.
genuinely,
nonsense.
throw the gauntlet down for next. Not because you haven't got much on next week.
No.
So throw the gauntlet down. You would probably really like the Batman because it's got none of the tropes and frills that a big action film in the past would have, i.e. all the Batmans that have come before them. It is a detective crime gangster film, and just so happens to have a caped crusader
Bloke dressed up as a bat.
and the other thing with the way they've done the Robert Pattinson character as well is they haven't made their mind up of what he is. Is he the old Twilight character with long hair? That felt really wrong to me. They were doing it, and don't get me wrong, I thought they did a really good job, or he did a really good job of trying to be the darker character. That I genuinely,
I thought he was a better Batman than he was Bruce Wayne.
yeah. And I had my reservations, as you know, about him doing that. But I actually think he did the Batman really well. But then, because he's used to be a pin-up for teenagers.
A sparkly vampire.
Yeah, and sparkly vampire.
I don't know what that accent was. I apologise.
When he was Bruce Wayne, it literally was, oh, well, we need your hair to fall down just over here, over your
Foppy emo Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
And it just didn't go.
But then I was like that, and I was like, nah, I didn't like it much. But then I was like, but then this is still a young Bruce Wayne. Maybe he hasn't got the... We'll see as the film progresses. Maybe he'll become the ladies' man Bruce Wayne and suddenly realise that he needs a persona to keep up. Because at the moment he's more Batman than he is Bruce Wayne. He's trying to get a balance. So what?
How did it do at the box?
Done all right.
All right, or okay?
I think it's
for a
done
DC
pretty
film?
well. I mean, I see a headline about Batman and I tend not to pay much attention. But I think it's actually done much better than they expected.
Yeah, 'cause I think they're almost ready.
It might have made its money back because DC
Well,
aren't used to that.
That's why they greenlit. But it was within a week that they greenlit the next ones.
Right.
And then the TV series come out for the Penguin as well, which was, I think, promised, but will depend on how the film goes.
I could see that working, but again, Gotham did it.
Yeah, but again, will they have a TV series that just doesn't have Batman in? You know, it's
they
going to
might
be...
well do, yeah, because
Yeah.
they didn't really have a Batman in this film.
Ooh.
No, but true. But
No,
the,
that's a
the
good point.
character Penguin, who is a kingpin gangster boss, that works. But you could have a kingpin.
King
King
Ping Ping.
Number 53. But you could have any gangster boss doing that. And yeah, actually, I think that character was okay, but it wasn't really Penguin.
Okay, I think we've done enough on.
Well, you can be the deciding vote at some point.
Yeah, at some point. I don't think it's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. That's for sure.
Well, you've got something better to do than watch the Batman. Oh. Right, well,
We'll have it on the big screen at the wedding.
Yeah.
well spinning back round to me, I have found the next show.
Ooh.
Is it the greatest show?
No, I have found the next show. Like, you know, I found it by accident on
Oh yeah, on the dark web again, where you're Brett.
BBC 4.
Yep.
Oh god, that was by accident. No one goes on BBC 4.
I do.
Well, it's called Missions.
Okay.
It's French,
Cool.
so you got to do the writing.
That's
You
fine.
got to read them subtitles.
Les Revenants was good, so...
Yeah.
Do you like my pronunciation there? Not even bother. Not even going to give it a go. Just Les Revenants.
Yeah, that was a great show. And well, it started apparently in 2017, and
Right.
there's 3 series so far. I'm only about 4 episodes into series 1, and it's set in the near future, and
2023.
but it's all about
There's been a pandemic.
the first mission to Mars.
Okay.
Okay, Elon's in it, is he?
There is an Elon type character, yeah, but obviously he was going to join, but he went and spent all his money on social media instead.
Hardly any of his money. The guy's worth $1 trillion. He can afford 44 billion or whatever it was. He might even be able to afford
It's
to
still
buy...
the world's most expensive midlife crisis.
It's not midlife crisis.
But anyway, yeah. So missions, BBC 4. And it's set in the near future, and you got this. It's the first crewed space mission to Mars. The Ulysses.
First crude. Do they just tell
Crude.
tell
No,
mum
'cause
jokes all the
they've done.
time?
Yeah.
Ooh, look at the honkers on that. Ooh.
Again, I don't know where your accents go, but
It's the USSS Sid James. Yes. No, it's actually called the Ulysses 1.
Yeah, okay, I'm liking it a bit more now.
And it's a European mission funded by the European Space Agency, the ESA, and William Mayer, who is this billionaire Swiss philanthropist who's basically your Elon Musk guy. But bizarrely, this was 2017 when Series 1 came out in France, so they kind of predicted the future.
Well, he's had SpaceX for
yeah. I mean, he sent a car in space in like 2016 or something, didn't he?
Tesla, yeah. A Tesla Roadster, I think.
I don't know what it was.
Trying to build up the TV show.
Sorry. I'm just saying.
They're like, yeah, it
You're
does.
kind of making
Does it?
these
Yeah.
points, but
Let the viewers argue about it. Anyway, so the crew's made up of apparently the best
try not
astronauts
to make you
and
sound like a dick when it goes out
European
on the air.
scientists.
Yeah.
That's not going to help me. The best astronauts and European scientists. So you got French, Germans, Italians,
And they all speak English, yeah?
and we kind of find no. It's all
Well, they
doing
should all
their own.
speak English because that's what all astronauts speak. And that's
Not
what
the
all...
French ones. They're very protective about their language.
Oh, they are. That's true.
And there's a Jeannie Renoir who's the crew psychologist.
So who?
We see her join Jeannie Renoir, and we see her join. So we kind of
Stop it.
we
Sorry.
kind of we follow her sort of point of
I'm
view
a
into
little
the
overexcited
mission.
because we've seemed to have sorted out the sound issues that we had for the first 25 minutes.
He has a very sheltered life,
Yeah.
and apparently it's 10 months traveling through space, and they get there, and
They get to the planet with the big boobies.
and it's really like dead serious as well. There's no real. It's a solid drama.
Okay, stop.
This is why you're not allowed to drink. Yeah, there's a few twists and turns, and it's very much. And this is going to sound wrong how I describe it, but it's kind of got Lost in Space vibe. And I don't mean Lost
I was
in
gonna say,
Space,
you're
Danger
losing
Will
me.
Robinson.
Yeah.
I mean Lost in
Right, okay.
space. Like Mars is something's not quite right about Mars. Is there something going on? There's strange things. There's a at the beginning, you see this Russian astronaut who was the first one in space before Yuri Gagarin, and he died on re-entry, and you sort of see that at the beginning. But then when they're on Mars, he's there, and it's like 50 years later, and he hasn't aged, and they meet him on the planet. He's like laying there, passed out, and they're like, and he doesn't know time's passed, so it gets to something's not right, and it's very much that sort of Lost vibe. So when I say lost in space, I don't mean Danger Will Robinson. I mean lost in space.
Yeah. So they're just trying to make out like supernatural things happen.
Well, it's not necessarily supernatural. It could be. I'm not sure if it's timey-wimey, or I'm not sure if it's
dimension jump,
or if he is who he is. He might not. He might think he is, but he might not be.
Shapeshifter,
or something. But it's very much like serious sci-fi. It's not. Oh, it's the alien from the Quark dimension, or something like that. It's all properly, like almost deadpan, sciencey, serious. But that makes it more. When weird things do happen, it makes it a bit more.
So this sounds more of. Is it a more thinking man's sci-fi?
Yeah, very much in the kind of, because you're trying to work. I haven't got anything right yet. And I'm 3 or 4 episodes in of what I think's going to happen.
Sorry, I wasn't disrespecting you when I said there's a thinking man's sci-fi.
No, but you know, like you watch a lot of these, you think, oh, that's going to happen, and it does. And you think, oh, that's.
So it's got some twists and turns that even the Mr. Summers with his notepad can't work out.
Yeah, in a way.
Have you got your notepad out while you're watching it?
No, not yet. The only one I ever needed to do that for was Dark, because there was so much going on in that.
Yeah, I need to go back to that.
That was an amazing show. Top 10 of all time. But
so this,
really
what's it called?
It is called Missions. It's currently on BBC 4.
So I guess that's on iPlayer.
Yeah, iPlayer. And all 3 seasons are on there.
Cool.
And they're only half an hour an episode.
Oh, there's 3 series.
Yeah, 3 seasons. Or series, or whatever you want to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I thought, well, I'll watch one. It's only half an hour. So it'll be like, let's see what it's like. And then I was about 3 episodes in. And then I realised I'd fell asleep, but then saw the bit at the end. I think the concentrating on reading the writing and watching it made me sleepy. And
so it sounds like you had a lot more progress watching those 3 episodes than I did killing big giants on Elden Rings.
You're still trying to think about how to do it now, aren't you?
No, well, I can kill them.
That's my new recommendation of something I never heard of and found by accident.
Cool. Well, that sounds a bit more up my street, so I might actually give that a watch.
I'm up to date with Moon Knight, the Marvel series.
So how are you feeling about this now? Because I think when we started, I was more for it than you were.
Well, the last episode.
Don't mention that. I haven't watched it yet.
Basically,
I've seen Twitter explode.
Yeah, it's brilliant because they've just taken a show and then just turned it upside down and shook everything out, and now everyone's like, so what were we watching? Okay. So you
leave it there.
It's the final one this Wednesday.
Okay, but
you need to see the
have you turned around then? Because I was more for it. You were.
Well, I was worried how they were going to do it, but they have kept it darker because it is a more darker one. I was worried with Disney they might fluff it up a bit.
But because again, I quite liked his acting. I liked how he did the.
Oh yeah, I've got no problem with.
Well,
Oscar Isaac.
You did earlier.
Did I? What did I say?
You didn't. You weren't rating him to start with. I really liked him.
I don't remember saying that at all.
Yeah, I said he was brilliant. You said he was a bit shit.
I didn't say that.
Well, just saying. That was on the podcast. Damien might have cut it out, listeners. Brett, if you want to go back and listen, but that's what.
Yeah, I've got no recollection of that. But then I do kind of zone out when I'm editing, especially when you're talking about this nonsense.
But I really liked Moon Knight. I haven't watched the last one yet. So.
Watch that tonight before you go in because the ending is amazing.
Not gonna happen tonight. Maybe tomorrow.
Got a few other bits, but Damien, what else have you been watching?
Nothing. I was forced to watch The Greener Grass and The Bubble. That's like 5 hours of my life that I'm never going to get back.
To Damien, his time is precious, and for him to devote that to The Bubble and the green grass.
Is he the Pope?
No, but
could have been out healing sick children.
He edits the podcast.
Yeah,
he listens to the podcast.
That was 7.5 hours. I'll also never get back.
And he doesn't normally watch as much films or TV, so he's managed to do that
Yeah.
on top of everything else.
Oh no, I did watch
Ooh.
episode 1 of the new series. I was going to say season then, but it's English, so it's series. New series of Inside Number 9.
Oh yeah, I did too. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Not one of their best, but I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, but I couldn't. It was almost like the ferryman bit got just tagged on the end.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's one of those ones where you need to watch it again because there's going to be something in there that flips it and you just don't see it.
Yeah.
But there's a point when he's on the island, you go, all right, okay, I know what that man was now.
Yeah.
But that's just because you're watching Inside Number 9, so you know you're trying, you
Yeah,
want
you're
to
looking
find it.
for the
You're
thing.
looking
Yeah.
for it. So if you were just watching that as a standalone piece of television, you wouldn't have done that. You'd have just go, this guy's having a bit of a breakdown and he's on an island. But so you know that what's going to happen, but there must be a point somewhere where it's either
I think it's when he left the boat.
yeah, but no, I get
Yeah,
that's what
yes,
so
I mean, yeah. No,
when he
right,
leaves the
yeah,
boat,
yeah.
you're right. That's
when
when
I
that
think
happens.
it was when you realise, yeah.
But normally with Inside Number 9, there's another layer of why the other characters are in there, what they're actually there for, because the boat at the end is still there. So is that boat just in his head that it's still there, and they've made their way back, or what? Do you know what I mean?
I think at that point, to me, that was when he was on another realm.
No, I get that.
And I mean, yeah, and the boat was because it's like, where are my friends? And like, oh, they're wherever.
They're on the other side.
It's
But
like, oh,
I don't know. There was just something. Normally, there's a click moment. Or you think you don't normally necessarily have to watch them back. You just go, oh yeah, I remember
I
that
get
now.
you now. Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
It almost feels like they've got a level that's kind of up here, and this one was below that level. If you see what I mean, because
Yeah, I don't think it hit as well as
yeah.
on paper it's probably a good idea, and then all the ferryman, and even when he spat the coin out and all that, pay the ferryman and all that sort of thing. But then if you don't know any of that, you haven't got a clue what's going on in that episode, and they're good at that. I mean, the robbery Pulp Fiction Italian comedy one was, or French comedy, I forget. No, it was Italian comedy one.
It was Italian,
Yeah, that was cleverly done. But if you didn't know, that was the same as the Shakespeare one. Sometimes they do that. Some people, might see it as a bit arsey and up their own a little bit, but they're trying to play they've tried to do every genre possible, haven't they? And we're in series 5 now,
5 or 6, something like that.
So they're trying different things. Give them a chance.
Oh yeah, I'm not knocking it.
No,
It
I'm
was
just
really-
saying.
it's
Like
just
some people moaning
something. There's a
about it.
level they're normally at, and this one just felt like it was below that. But I reckon if I was to go back and watch it, there'd be a point in there where there's just a moment where it flips, but you just don't see it unless you know what the ending's going to be.
A bit, yeah.
And at that point, like for most of it, up until probably 20 minutes in, it's just 4 blokes in a boat. Oh yeah, 3 blokes in a boat and a girl, but you don't necessarily know where it's going to go. But that did make me go back and watch Bernie Clifton's Dressing Room and A Quiet Night In, and what was the other one I watched?
12 Days of Christine.
No, I've watched that one so many times. Oh, it's the one with the homeless guy, where he
Takes him into
his house.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that one just didn't feel like it was at the same level as those, but again, I think I need to
when
watch
it
it again.
properly gets you, there's some like real
Exactly.
yeah. Whereas it was.
And I didn't get that with that, which has just reminded me off the back of that, because I was on iPlayer, I started watching The Cleaner. This is the BBC sitcom starring the really tall comedian guy, whose name escapes me.
Yep.
Russell Osborne.
No. Russell Osborne.
Oh, Greg Davis.
That's the fella.
Apparently, I just thought of it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Didn't Google it at all.
So I only watched 2 of them because it was getting to like 2 o'clock in the morning.
I only watched 2 of them.
I enjoyed the first one. I thought the first one was very funny. I find him funny
Who's
anyway.
the woman in it?
It was
Helena
Helena
Bonham
Bonham Carter. I find his delivery funny. So how he was reacting to like having a gun pointed at him and just the whole scenario that it was in, and the drop kick in the cake. I don't know why. I just found that really, really funny. The second one, not so much. which is probably why I decided to go to bed. But I didn't think the second one was that bad.
And no did I. But
it's
you
got-
know what
it's
it's like,
got
and we've
geek.
talked.
Yeah,
It's got Geeta from EastEnders on it.
yeah.
That's what happened to her.
We talked about it before. The amount of series where you watch a couple of them and then just don't go back.
Yeah, I intend to
That
go
was one
back.
of them. Yeah. It's just
They're only half an hour long, and there's only
Yeah.
probably about 6. So, but the first two, I enjoyed.
yeah.
It wasn't.
Just that bit where
It's silly comedy, but not silly.
I mean, I
to the
watched
point
it,
where
I
it's.
watched it months and months ago. But
And
it's
you
just,
never mentioned it.
no, probably
Let
not.
down.
But it's just a bit funny where I'm sure he's like covered in lots of blood or something, but he just tries to carry on regardless.
Yeah, it's
or-
that kind of just daft, silly humour. It's worth a watch. Anyway, Brett, back to you.
Speaking of dark, silly humour, I was made aware of this show, and I had to go and see it. But yeah, because it caused such an uproar. It's an Apple TV show. The show is an anthology show called Raw, ROAR, like a lion's roar.
Rah.
Yeah, and there's an episode of it. It's all about like empowering women, and each episode is sort of
which are all
like
about
that,
on this
which is all
podcast.
about. We love empowering women, but this episode was called "The Woman Who Was Fed by a Duck."
Okay.
Have you not heard of this yet?
No.
No.
Basically, it's a lady at the park. She's sat on a bench and she's on her phone, talking to her mate, and says, "Yeah, these dating apps, not much cop, bit thin out there, whatever." And then she hangs up on her mate and sits there, and there's like the ducks in the pond, and one walks up and just starts talking to her.
Sorry, what?
Yep.
It's just a cartoon.
No, real life and played straight. And then she starts talking to the duck, and then as it progresses, she like comes back a few times and meets the duck. And then one day she takes the duck home, and they have a meal dating thing. And then
She turns into a duck lover.
it's called The Woman Who Was Fed by a Duck. Think about it.
Yep.
And then one day the duck's talking to her. He goes, "I've got an idea. Why don't you just lay back on the floor? I want to try something." I'll put it this way: anything that anyone thought about Howard the Duck, the movie, this episode delivers on.
And what's this on?
Apple TV. It's called Raw, but they're all different episodes. And then it turns into a thing where he becomes really possessive and all that. And in the end, she like kicks him out and proves that she doesn't need any kind of man and can do it on her own.
This is on Apple TV.
Duck or not.
Look, honestly, like she pretty much.
You've got Apple TV and you're watching this as opposed to all the other stuff I've been talking about on Apple TV.
Well, what's the point in watching the stuff you've already talked about? Because we're not going to talk about it in here, are we?
No, but you could really enjoy
genuinely,
it.
But
I
this
select
was
my
like-
TV now based on whether we're going to talk about it or not. I've not watched Grace that's been on ITV, despite reading every Grace novel since day one. No, I haven't
Oh,
got time for that because I've got to watch something for
saying
this
that.
podcast.
So yeah, The Woman Who Was Fed by a Duck. How about that? I bet
That's
like,
on Apple
I bet
TV.
your wives and that have heard of it because all people were like, "Oh my god!" And like the duck, it like went down on her. And it's a real duck. It's not like a comic. It's like a real. It looks like a real duck. It's not. It's like just like it's really weird. And then it all goes into sort of like domestic and mental abuse, and the duck tells her what to do and stuff. It's
Okay.
It's yeah, but she did get fed by a duck. So yeah, try that one if you're into that. And I forgot what I was going to say then.
Oh, I'm not surprised. I've forgotten
Oh,
pretty much the rest of this year now.
I
thanks to
started.
that.
I started watching the second episode of I forgot what it's called now. The nun that solves crimes.
Really, you've kept up with that. Well done.
What's it called? They've all been
I don't know what
recorded on
it's
my
called.
box. Sister something.
Oh, yeah.
Jessica.
No.
But in the second episode, it's very much. It starts a bit weird, and you're like, "What's going on?" And
Well, the
basically,
first one was a bit weird, and we liked the storyline.
yeah.
of that.
But the second one starts. I've only got halfway through so far, but it starts.
Is there a duck in it?
No, but it starts a bit weird, and you're not quite sure what's going on. And it's filmed
Duck
a bit,
that eats
and,
the nun.
and it's filmed in a different way. And then you realise that they're basically making the Avengers, but it's called something else. Then the camera pans back, and they're
No,
making
it was
that.
set, it's supposed to be set around
set
that
in
time.
that time,
innit?
isn't it? But
What was it called?
What makes it even weirder?
Boniface, Sister
Boniface. There we go. But the guy...
I just realised you didn't actually mean the Avengers.
But there's a bit in this is in the opening 5 minutes where the villain lady points a gun at the John Steed character and fires it just as he dives out the way, but it's been loaded with real bullets. So I paused it there.
Yeah.
I was just like, that just felt a bit
I like Baldwin-esque.
yeah. I was like, we'll leave that one for the moment.
News desk.
The news.
News items. News items.
Okay, now it's time for the news desk, where we gaze upon the latest happenings in the world of entertainment that are relevant to us. And we are going to start with the breaking news that Ghostbusters 5 has been announced by Sony.
Yep, following the success of Ghostbusters Afterlife, Sony have announced they are ploughing ahead with a 5th film. Currently untitled and with no director attached, little is known about the project, although the promise of another instalment does seem exciting.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Sony's not confirmed if any cast members will be reprising their roles, and the same goes for the crew and the director, including, obviously, Jason Reitman, whose father directed the original film. He's in pre-production as a producer on the Diablo Cody project with HBO, so does not currently have any official directorial roles assigned to him, so could potentially jump on board if he feels the time is right.
I think he will.
You
I
reckon?
mean, you can't. Afterlife was a home run, wasn't it?
Well,
was,
Yeah.
There's two ways of thinking about this, isn't there? Because, you know, when we're talking about box office, then all the production companies want that next blockbuster and in the can, as it were. But it's the, to quote, heart and soul of the Ghostbusters. If it's not a Reitman, that's going to be interesting. Because let's look at what's happened before without a Reitman.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that done better at the box office.
but not for the fans. Let's face it.
Ghostbusters took more money in Afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't. It lost millions.
He said it with a lot of confidence, so I'm going to believe him. As is the
Don't,
way.
don't you can Google afterwards, and you can come back next week and shoot me down in
but
flames if you.
It lost. It didn't even make its money back.
I mean, let's face it. From that news report, there's no confirmation of a script. There's no confirmation of original cast. There's no confirmation of any directors, i.e., the one that we want to do it. So,
I kind of.
but
I'm going to be honest. I don't care who directs it, as long as the tone of it is the same as Afterlife.
with a better story.
It's more about the tone than it is about director, crew, cast. You would need to have at least 2 or 3 members of that cast, and I'm not necessarily talking about Dan Aykroyd or
yeah,
that
the
lot.
original.
At least 2 or 3
You
members
need
of
at least the
Afterlife.
brother and sister.
Yeah.
Or would you? Or have they played their purpose in rebooting the franchise? I don't know.
Well, no, she was the focus. I forgot
Yeah.
the
No, no,
actress's
but-
name now, but she was the focus.
But I think we've talked about this a bit before. It's when I rewatched it, she was a bit too much to the focus and actually made it a bit elongated. Good pun.
Yeah.
I quite like that. That tickled me like a duck. But
Won't be editing the duck thing out of this podcast then.
oh yeah, sorry, Damien. The only thing I'd say is for the last 20 years, the amount of similar headlines and similar
That have got us
stories that we've
excited,
heard that
yes.
have got us excited. Dan Aykroyd and whoever.
But they have sprinkled us a bit of that Ghostbusters crack now, and we're hooked
Exactly.
again.
Exactly. So whilst I'm trying to not be excited, obviously I am, but yeah, of course they're interested in new Ghostbusters. We all are. But the script needs to be there. The actors need to be there, and the director needs to be there.
The biggest worry for me in any of this is that it's Sony, who will just keep pumping stuff out and chucking it and seeing if it sticks to the wall. And if they're not quite as bad as DC, but So actually, they might be worse because they'll just milk something and keep going and going.
But that was the nice thing with the last film, is because
they were bricking it then because they thought Ghostbusters with the girls was going to be like the savior of the company, and it wasn't. And then they were like,
apparently
okay,
was, according to Damien.
yeah. But then they were like, okay, yeah, make the Ghostbusters you want because we tried our idea.
Exactly. But and we said that before with the Afterlife, that there was the genuine love that you felt through it. There was the genuine, respect for the fans.
There wasn't a dry eye in the house at the end.
And also trying
apart from Damien.
Apart from me.
He's got no heart. But they're also trying to, introduce the original concept of the films to new fans. And don't get me wrong, with the Goldbusters, there's some good minutes of that 2-hour film.
Some good minutes. That's a good way. Yeah, I'll give you that.
But it's not a Ghostbusters film. And Afterlife absolutely was. My concern is that, as you mentioned, is that Sony are just going to try and regurgitate this and make it just throw any old crap onto the wall. And
it's like, that one made money. Let's just do some more now. And there'll probably be a cartoon and whatever. Because it's Sony, they'll just pump it out more and more and more. Speaking of which, that moves us on to our next news item. Venom 3 has been announced by Sony.
Yep, following the box office success of Venom, Let There Be Carnage, Sony has finally officially announced that Venom 3 with Tom Hardy is happening. The events of Venom, Let There Be Carnage left the door wide open for a third installment, and after Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock, these are words I'm just reading out. I've got no idea what I'm talking about here.
Hey, keep on, you're doing so well.
Sounded like you knew.
Yeah, Eddie Brock.
Yep, after Eddie Brock spent some brief time in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for Spider-Man No Way Home post-credits cameo.
Wasted. That was a wasted opportunity.
Was it? Okay, I'll take your word for that. He returned to Sony's Spider-Man universe with the knowledge of the wall crawler. Words. This once again teed him up for Venom's exciting future. No writer, no director, or stars have officially been attached to the sequel, although obviously Hardy's coming back for the solo franchise. Right over my head, that, but...
So, hold on. Tom Hardy isn't confirmed.
He is coming back.
He's coming back. That's
so
what I
he's
said.
the only... Oh, fine. That's the only one you really care about.
But, I mean, the second Venom film was better than the first one.
No, I disagree.
So the third one...
No, I disagree.
No, you can make your point in a minute. So I'm hopeful for the third one.
So, see, I don't mind any of the Venom films. I know they haven't been the box office or, review.
Yeah, they've made some money.
Yeah, but they haven't been the competing Marvel.
Oh yeah, they weren't making Avengers money, but they made money.
But and also from a critically acclaimed perspective as well, they got a bit of a beating, but I thought they did what they were set out to do. They were the mix of funny, mix of action, the mix of Tom Hardy, and I genuinely like Tom Hardy as well in the role that he's doing as sorry, who was it, Damien? Eddie Brock.
Eddie Brock.
Sorry, he say it again. But I like the films, and actually I think they're on to a winner. But what they're missing is what everyone. Well, I say everyone. What I think a lot of people would like to see is actually Spider-Man v Venom, as opposed to a Venom 3 where he's potentially still going to go out on his own.
That's what you're going to get in the MCU, though, aren't you? Because when he went back, there was a bit of Venom left.
Yeah, so I know, but is that going to be Eddie Brock? Is that going to be Tom Hardy? Or is that just going to be...
No, cause they're separate people.
Yeah, but that's my point.
No, but the Venom left in the MCU, the bit left over will be like the evil
Yeah, I know. So
what's the word I want?
Symbiotic?
Symbiont. Yeah,
Symbiont.
Symbiont. Whereas,
but we've had that before in Spider-Man.
Yeah, but not in the MCU.
Yeah, but again, you're missing. The thing is that when they team up together, they do a good job. Spider-Man. The last
Isn't Venom
few-
a baddie?
Well, yes, he
supposed to be.
initially is, but
Yeah.
with Tom Hardy, he's already become a goodie. So we've kind of missed out on the
He's a
the
good
Venom,
bad guy.
the evil years. You know, he lives
Yeah,
by his
okay.
own rules. But that's why I think the MCU one we'll see will be the evil Venom, who will eventually, you know, by about the however many films they knock out, will end up being good. But we've got that fresh start with the MCU Venom with what's his name? Plays Spider-Man now. I forgot his name. Tom Holland.
Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Don't look
So,
at me.
so I think we'll have a Venom with him. Whereas
Yeah, but
In-
it's
in the
not
s-
going to
in
be
the-
Tom Hardy Venom, is it?
probably not, because
No.
he's got his. We never know.
Yeah, but he's been in the MCU, so
no,
Who?
he crossed over because the world's.
oh no, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
But I literally just read that he's been in the MCU.
yeah.
That's what of all
Tom-
the
no, Tom
nonsense that I
Hardy
just
was
read
there
out.
for
That's
like-
the bit I took from it.
Tom Hardy was there for like 2 minutes at the end of the film,
Ah, okay.
and it was a
Through,
wasted
what, some
opportunity.
dimension jump
Yeah,
nonsense.
Yes.
we thought finally they moved him across, like he'd gone through like the multiverse to that, but then they moved him back again at the end. It was
Oh,
just
okay.
it was a big tease. It was a big tease, I tell you.
The
But
duck tease.
But again, this is Sony. he was ducked off. This is Sony again, because Sony can only use characters because they've got the rights to Spider-Man. They can only use characters that come from Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So that's why we've got the Morpheus one. That's why we've got the
Well, that's cool because then they can use all the guys from Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
different franchise.
Damien.
They can only use even
Oh,
the
bless
originated
you.
from the Spider-Man comics because Iceman was X-Men. See, Firestar were the X-Men. Well, actually, Firestar was the cartoon.
It's just Arse
first.
Gravy. I'm not interested. I don't
Yeah.
want to know.
But
Can we move on?
But yeah, but that was the main thing, and that's what Sony are going to try and do. They'll probably introduce a couple more characters into this one,
Yeah,
and then
it
try
will
and
be.
make more films off of those ones. But we're getting it more diluted down with the fact that, you know, in a minute it will just be like, oh look, there's Dave, the newspaper boy, who appeared in episodes in issue 16. We'll have a film about him now. You know, that's what they're doing. But hopefully it will keep up to the standard because I think they've got better, the Venom films. And
Have you seen the Morbius yet?
No, not had a chance yet, to be honest.
Okay.
But speaking about not having a chance, next to the news items, Netflix loses subscribers for the first time in a decade.
Yeah. So when sharing its report for the Q2 earnings in 2022, Netflix revealed that it had lost 200,000 subscribers. It's its first negative subscriber number in 10 years.
The shares dropped something like 25% overnight, didn't
Yeah.
they?
Well, they're all panicking now. But again, this is going back to what we've been talking about for the last year. The content wars. People are pulling their stuff back. Netflix are trying to chuck their own stuff out. Amazon have bet the house on this Lord of the Rings TV series
Yeah.
because the money they've put into that is ridiculous.
So, yeah, I think we need to take that initial drop in shares with a pinch of salt.
I think the bigger picture is that I don't necessarily think that the likes of I was about to say Euro Disney, the likes of Disney Plus and Amazon and Peacock,
Peacock,
should be
Apple,
looking
got
at
all
this.
these-
Apple should be necessarily looking at this as a good thing. I think it's a trend that's gonna. So if you think back, I don't know, 20. It probably is 20 years ago actually. Cable subscribers, Sky subscribers was dropping off because adverts, because content was shite, because people suddenly realised, why am I paying whatever it was,
yeah.
35, 40 quid a week to watch Sky Sports when I only want to watch 2 football games or whatever. That's why you know, cable and Sky started to drop off. I think it's going to be the same for all these services because you're going to be going, well, I'm paying, well, Netflix now is about £10-11 a month.
Yeah, they've upped their price
They've upped
as
their
well.
price.
So it'd be interesting to see how Apple...
Well, that's kind of my point, is
Yeah.
that our first 3 or 4 years of having Netflix was great because you had a back catalogue of stuff you hadn't seen, so you watched it. And it's the same for the last year with Disney Plus, and it was the same with Amazon over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Load of stuff, not seen it, it's new, it's, you know, here in the UK, oh, it's an American show, we never even got over here, we're going to watch it. It might have been 20 years old, and it's
Yeah.
from the 90s, but we watched it. and it was good with value for money. Now, kind of most of the population have kind of caught up with the back catalogues.
Of what they
So
want
now
to watch.
you're waiting for new stuff, and you've got a pandemic that's just hit. So a lot of stuff hasn't been made, or if it has been made, it's shit like Bubble. So you don't want to watch it.
That is, to be fair to Netflix, that's one show that I didn't like.
What?
But Bubble, the Bubble.
That's a film.
Yeah,
I said show.
yeah. It's not a show; it's a film.
Right.
It's a movie.
Right. But compared to the likes of Amazon, I still think Netflix has it. It's still above the curve of streaming services, and they're continuing to bring out stuff. And I think there is, and you're right, there's going to be that hit and miss type thing, but they're still continuing to deliver content. But
I don't think they are.
well, they are. The Bubble.
Well, they're going to have to. Well, they're going to have to. Cause
They're switching, by the looks of it, switching more to an ad-based model. So they're going to have 2 tiers of subscription.
Well, I
subscribe
don't.
with ads, or obviously subscribe without ads, and that's where they're going to start
How does that
struggling.
work on a player? You have to watch 30 seconds of ad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fine.
It's the same as like YouTube and Spotify.
Yeah,
Isn't it? All those sorts of-
But I don't mind that.
I do. Pisses me right off.
Yeah, but the grand scheme of things, I don't mind 30 seconds of ads. But Netflix, Squid Games 2 will hopefully bring in a lot more attraction to people to continue to subscribe.
But will they sell it to Netflix or will they sell it to someone else? 'Cause
Yeah,
again,
it's not a Netflix
it's already
series.
with them, isn't it?
It's not a Netflix. It's not made by Netflix, and that's, you could possibly argue that's part of their problem, is that they buy content
But,
and then stream it. The money they get from subscriptions isn't necessarily paying for the cost of buying all this.
no, that's cool. And as we've mentioned several times before, the other thing going against them is the uprise of other streaming services and other content.
I mean,
out there.
ultimately, we're the ones that are going to lose out, because we're going to have to pay for
10 different
10 different streaming
things,
services just to
Well,
watch one
no, but
thing.
this is
So
the
that
thing,
means
though.
there isn't a LimeWire anymore, but the BitTorrent stuff is going to pick back up
Yeah.
again.
Is all Amazon need to do to take the lead on this is sort out their bloody interface, because there's so much
It's
stuff
crap.
on there.
Yeah.
That when
Well,
you type it,
exactly.
you find it, but when you look, like, geez, like I don't know.
Yeah, the
horror
recommended
films,
for you is
yeah,
awful.
You get
Yeah.
about 6 films out there. When you dive deeper, there's loads of stuff on
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I was going to counter your argument, and that I think Amazon Prime is better than Netflix
But
for content.
but maybe Brett's hit the nail on the head, because I hate using the interface on Amazon because there's no,
Awful.
on Netflix you can do like searches, or it shows you by category or something. With Amazon it's just so bizarre.
Yeah, I find myself going on the internet and
Yeah.
searching what is on Amazon, and just
And then it'll say, like,
It'll
you
tell
can
you.
watch it on Amazon.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
sometimes on iPlayer as well. You get the
yeah,
little-
and obviously their movie selection is far superior to Netflix. Yeah. Anyway, let's move
a
on.
whole lot there to unpack. Now we got a few other headlines coming in. There's a season 3 about to hit Netflix, Damien.
Yep, Netflix anthology show Love, Death and Robots season 3 will debut on the 20th of May. Should we just run through the headlines?
Yeah,
We can
go
go
for it,
back
go
and
for
talk
it.
about any of the ones we want to talk about. So, yep, you got Love, Death and Robots premieres on the 20th of May. That's on Netflix. Sky HBO horror comedy The Baby gets a July 7th UK premiere on Sky Atlantic and Now TV. Chris Pratt Mario Brothers movie has been pushed back from Christmas 2022 to Easter 2023. Ooh. The David Farr adaptation of Midwich Cuckoos, starring Keely Hawes and Max Beasley, premieres in the UK on Sky Max on June the 3rd. And The Goldbergs has been renewed for season 10.
Season 10.
Season 10.
Season 9's just hit the UK. I've watched the first 2 episodes. The first one is a bit of a tribute. I forgot the guy's name now. Played the granddad. I've forgotten his real name. George Searle?
George Costanza? I don't know.
No, George. Oh, anyway, he
Clooney?
he passed away in real life, and they've
Oh,
acknowledged
okay.
that on the show. So that was quite a nice one. It was a weird kind of Bill and Ted episode where they were going around to sort of do his ashes and sort of picking up random friends of his along the way, and they ended up in like the mall McDonald's-y type place, fast food thing, with all these different people that Grandad had met along the way, sort of thing. And it was, very much Bill and Ted going to do their history presentation. So yeah, I'm surprised we got another series out, because I think I like the Goldbergs, but
I've not watched it.
The guy's 30 now. He has gone to college this series, though. He started college now, or university as it would be in this country. So, he's getting older. They're acknowledging that he is older, and they just need to hit the 90s at some point now, because they've now literally, that will be a decade, and it's.
But
been
isn't
the
that his
80s.
thing? Isn't it like that 70s show? That's the hook.
Oh yeah, but they can just move it to the 90s. It would still be the Goldbergs. Then go, it turned to 19.
I've not watched it, so but I'm
Well,
just
it's always
when I see it, that's my thinking is
Yeah.
that they're playing on the gag is it's over 80s, the same as the 70s was over 70s.
But it's like The Simpsons, but they're not cartoon characters, so they grow up.
Yeah, that's it's just like he's gonna be like 35 soon. Oh, mind you, Luke Perry did it for years.
There's only
But,
so many times you can get relegated to the same year at school.
Yeah, but the other thing that interests me on what you read out there, I'm really looking forward to the Midwich Cuckoos.
Yeah.
Loved the book, John Wyndham. Loved the Village of the Damned as it was years ago.
Did you ever? We talked about it. I don't know however many months ago it was. There was a radio BBC Four adaptation.
No, I totally forgot about that until you said it now.
If it's still available on BBC Sounds, that's worth checking out. That was a good one.
I will find it.
Had your man from Inside Number 9, or was it Inside League of Gentlemen? I'll go League of Gentlemen. That covers all of them then. I can't remember which one it was now.
Oh no, I would look at that because I do like that stuff. Interesting, they're pushing the Mario Brothers back though, because I thought Christmas would have been a prime time for that, but then.
I didn't bother like listening. There was like a lot of copy on it, but there is no reason for it. It doesn't state a reason why. Hence why I thought I'm not going to bother putting all this nonsense in there.
Maybe something else is due out this Christmas, and they're a bit worried.
Maybe so.
Yeah, but if you had a Christmas kids movie when kids are off school, they would release it then.
Yeah, but you don't need that now. All it would be now is some bloke in an office has gone, for the last 2 years, the Easter film has took more money than the Christmas film, and they've gone, okay, we'll release it Easter.
It depends
then.
on how far they're pushing it back.
Easter.
2 weeks. Oh, sorry, I missed that bit.
Yeah, so that's probably like some financial whiz that.
Quite possibly. The bean counters decision.
Or is there some Marvel comic?
Yeah.
It could be. It probably is. Tell me more of The Baby. I don't think I know about The Baby.
Le Baby.
Well, I've got nothing in front of me.
Oh, fair enough.
We did talk about it. I think we talked about it in our New Year episode or over Christmas, because it was one of the things that we had listed that we like the sound of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen
we went down a whole rabbit hole about.
Has there been a trailer or anything yet?
No idea.
No.
Don't know. We went down a rabbit hole about Rosemary's Baby and stuff like that.
If it's around the New Year's,
does none of you listen to what we produce?
if it's one of the New Year's-y type stuff,
No, that's true. That's a good
Paul
point.
doesn't even remember
I
us doing
probably-
it.
I struggled to listen back. It was a
And-
bit painful.
And Love, Death and Robots, I didn't really get, but I like some of them that I saw.
I get it.
But you guys really liked it, and a
No,
lot
no,
of people
but
do.
but
There's
I
nothing
don't
wrong-
think we
there's
really
nothing
liked
wrong-
it. I think it's a bit like Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
It's a bit like
Thing,
what
yeah.
you talked about last week.
Creep Show.
Creep Show. There's episodes that are good. There's
Yeah,
episodes that are bad. I mean, I remember harking back to a conversation we had before. You were really impressed, Paul, with the CGI in the one that was set on space. But
yeah, absolutely.
The following episode was a bit shite. It's
It's a mix and match, and it really showcases some talents and some some of the episodes, but then the next episode could be complete rubbish. It's just one of those things. It's hard to get excited about it because similarly, I know there's probably going to be like 2 or 3 episodes that are really good, and then a lot of it which is drivel.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry for putting it on the list. I
No,
just
no,
thought,
no,
it's
no,
something we
no,
talked about in the past. Maybe it was worth
just
mentioning.
explain to
I
Brad.
won't bother in the future.
No, it
Just explain
deserves to
Brad.
be on the list. And so that looks to be all that I have on the agenda.
It's just that John Wick 4 has been pushed back.
Yeah, I don't care about that. When you get to 4,
I haven't seen the first three
No.
yet.
You
exactly.
haven't seen John Wick?
No, apparently they kill his dog and he gets
Yeah.
angry.
There's a hotel.
You guys
Whoopie
haven't
doo.
seen John Wick?
Nope.
Oh, man.
I'll end up watching it at some point, but
At some point, it's been like 10 years.
I still
Alright,
haven't
chill out.
seen. What was that other bloke? The
No, it
with Matt
just
Damon.
annoys me.
What was the one
You
with-
watch a whole series of 90210 or whatever it is, 22 Jump Street, and then the next one.
Trinity Jump Street.
21
22
Jump Street.
Yeah. But he won't spend some time to watch something that's been made in the
I
last
still
10
haven't even
years.
seen The Born Identity yet, and I've got it on Blu-ray.
I haven't seen Cocktail or Top Gun. What's your point? Or Dirty Dancing or Flashdance. What's your point?
What?
It's an episode for us.
You haven't seen Jurassic
I've never seen.
How
I've
can,
seen-
how,
I've seen bits of it.
how can you not watch any Jurassic Park film?
Oh, it's dinosaurs.
Jurassic Park.
Let's just stop.
You watch
Anyway,
all this
So
crap.
there we go.
You. Oh man.
Yeah, but he watches the crap, so we don't have to. It's good. Don't knock it.
Okay.
I'm like a filter.
Because now, from going forward, when he says I started to watch a film and it was so bad,
I just watched
we're not
them
going to go,
because-
oh, I'm going to give that a go then. No, that's not happening again.
I told you.
Yeah, but there's a lot of films he hasn't seen. I didn't realise this. I thought he'd seen
Yeah,
everything.
Did you not? Over Christmas, I think it was. He said he'd never seen Home Alone.
I thought I had. I
Oh,
didn't realise I
that's
hadn't.
true, actually, yeah.
It's it's like Jurassic Park. I've probably seen most of it over the years, but
Yeah.
I've never sat down and went, "Oh, Jurassic Park."
Well, that's what I'm like with
Yeah.
Cocktail and
yeah.
Top Gun.
And that was what I was
I'm
like.
no doubt.
with Home Alone. I thought I had seen
cumulatively,
it,
I've
and I
seen
was
it.
like, John Candy's in this. It was like,
It just changes my opinion of him. You know, when you think he's like this font of knowledge and he hasn't even seen any Jurassic Park films, which are probably one of the biggest
Yeah, but
blockbusters ever.
the thing is, he has seen Space Orb 2001 that was made in 1979,
I'd probably watch
and
that.
no one else has watched it other than him.
And the-
He's seen that. That's
and
the difference.
and the director.
Yeah, and he knows who directed it, who
I'll tell
starred
you
in
what-
it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I found out the other day that I didn't know. Do you remember one of our
go.
dinosaurs is missing?
Oh, that's
I'm
a great
aware
film.
of it. Yeah.
Remember the old one? I think was it Lansbury? Was she in that one?
Or
well,
a
the
cheap
big-
replacement.
Well, the big
Yeah.
dinosaur skeleton that I'm acting out now that none of you can see,
Yeah.
that they chase and they
Yeah.
CGI, is the skeleton in the
Yeah.
desert in A New Hope. Never knew that.
What?
It's what?
They used it in, I think it was in New Hope, or was it, might have been the more recent one. No, it wasn't New Hope. But that skeleton's in the desert when like they walk past and you see like some bones in the desert.
I said a reason.
That's the-
some
Oh, right. I
That's
see,
the
yeah.
that's the dinosaur from one of our dinosaurs.
Did
that's
I miss a
missing.
dinosaur walking across, like,
No, the
panning
bone-
its
the
way
bones,
across
'cause
Tatooine or something?
It's the skeleton, and
Yeah,
the
got you
skeleton
now.
bit.
I'm with you.
It's the skeleton in the New Hope. They just like took it and stuck it there, then took it back again before no one noticed. But yeah. But that wraps us up this week on our dinosaur little themed end.
But it not have sand in it.
Paul, let him wrap up.
I know, but seriously, if they can't just
I don't think George Lucas cared. He was
Is
trying to
it-
make it on the cheap. At
there's
the
a
time.
whole film in that, isn't there? We need a prop.
To be fair, I don't think they just nicked it and then brought it back. I mean, it's a
That's
logistical
what he
nightmare.
just said. That is just what he said.
It's what he said, but you know,
There's probably a bit more to the story.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
sure they have permission.
I'll do
but-
some
Yeah.
investigation.
yeah, you do that.
I'll report back.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for joining our latterly themed dinosaur episode. Godzilla. No, we have pretty much shot our bolt this evening
Sorry, what?
into a dinosaur or a duck,
Or duck.
whatever your taste may be.
Well, that's
But-
it. I've got no chance of heading this duck nonsense out of my.
So if you want to keep up to date on everything that we're doing, check out cultfaction.com, which is like the mothership of all that we do. We're across all the different social medias. We're on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and other ones too. I've probably missed one out.
Probably.
And it would really help us though if you do download the podcast on your various podcatcher apps. Do rate us, give us a review, and share us with your friends. Yeah, it's time to say goodbye, everyone. So it's a goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
Stay safe, and we'll see you next week.
Don't have nightmares.
Or duck.
Superman.
I thought it was just going to smash it in the phone. Not off.
Screw you at the drive-thru.
All I've got to say on that is Jump Street for life.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Boing, 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 boing. Pizzazz, schwazz, and maz. That's right.